So this is something that I think the Niners are starting to whisper about and think and feel. Teams are starting to make it a point of emphasis to like rough up Christian McCaffrey or maybe hurt him. He's been getting some personal fouls against him. Last game, they tried to take off his helmet. What do you think? Do you think there's something here?
Yeah, the first time I got that feeling was in the Dallas game. So the very first play, I didn't look at that as trying to hurt McCaffrey. The way I looked at that, and I actually tweeted right away about it, is when you get into a game with the 49ers, a team that you know is very physical, you have to overcompensate. And so you have to do things that you feel like tough guys do. And sometimes you're going to get penalties for it, stupid penalties, because you're trying to match that physicality from the 49ers. And that's what I felt the first play was. There was a play later in the game, though, and not a lot of people talked about it, at least that I remember, but where he had his right leg tucked under a player. And I think it was Parsons came over the top and like kept pressing him down. So essentially he was folding backwards and his knee was like getting tweaked. I was like, that right there, I was like, okay, maybe they're trying to get him hurt on that play. It seemed a little weird. He jumped up. It was no big deal, but that was the first play and really the only play that I can remember that said, all right, maybe they are trying to get him hurt. That being said, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if teams every week are trying this. That's the first real glimpse that I had of it. I mean, is there anything else that you can think of that stood out to you as plays that they were trying to get him hurt?
It's football. Like, I don't know if they're explicitly trying to injure Christian McCaffrey.
Like, there's not a bounty gate on him. Anything that I know
do
of.
That. Yeah. But I could imagine how a defensive coordinator such as Dan Quinn might address his team the week of the game to sort of motivate him to execute your game plan. Like you'd say something like,
punch him.
All right, their offense starts and ends with Christian McCaffrey. All right. And look at your linebackers and the people in your front seven. Like, look at this little dude. Look at this 200-pound, 5'11" pretty boy. You gonna let him run on you? You gonna let him run over you? You gonna are you gonna make him feel you? Like, there's ways you could motivate bigger, faster, stronger people than Christian McCaffrey to want to prove something, especially early in a game. I mean, that doesn't mean that they're as good as him, and like he's been dealing with that his whole life. I mean, he's great, but still, wouldn't you say something like that? Like, he's finesse. He's small. He's a scat back. He doesn't want it. Like, even though he's proven that he does and that he's a complete back, you'd have to say something like that, right? Instead of saying, hey, man, Christian, he's too good. What are you going to do? There's nothing we can do. He's so good. Let's just hope and pray.
And I'm sure that plenty of things like that are being said. I mean, honestly, Dallas did a good job of containing CMC. The problem is that when you dedicate all of your resources to one player the way that they did, you forget that they have 3 other all-pro talents around that can go out and do something too. And that's where the issue lies with the 49ers is if CMC, it's different. This is the difference. Taking CMC out of the game through a game plan is very different than him not playing, because if he's not playing, you just don't have to worry about him. Then you can start focusing on some of those other areas. But if he's in the game, even if you take him quote unquote out of the game, you're focusing all your resources on him to do so, which means somebody else is getting one-on-one coverage and they're going to abuse that. In fact, all the other guys are probably getting one-on-one coverage and they can all abuse that. So that's what CMC does to a game. Even if he's not the one that's going off, he is getting everybody else involved because it takes so much attention away from the defense. He's phenomenal. He's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny, like Dallas can say, we set out what we accomplished to do. We shut down Christian McCaffrey. Who else can say they did that? Yeah. And in the process, you gave up 42 points. You're the worst. Like, you had the best defense of anyone the Niners have faced, and you had the worst performance against the Niners offense. Like, whatever and that's crazy. It's Dan Quinn. You'd think he'd have the best approach, but his approach was the worst. You can't dare Brock Purdy to beat you, because you know what he's going to do? He's not Jimmy Garoppolo. He ain't. I made that mistake. He's good. And if you dare him to beat you, you got to shut him down. You know, when he got hurt in the NFC Championship game and Josh Johnson came in, things were different. And if Brock Purdy goes down and Sam
Yeah.
Darnold comes in, things are going to be different, even with all the supporting cast. So I think teams got to start looking at this differently. It's not all, even I need to start looking at this differently. It's not all about Christian McCaffrey. Like, the quarterback is a really important position, and Brock is playing at a really high level, even though it's like your brain can't register it because all you do is see a guy who looks like he's 14 on the field. And it's like, no, it's not. It can't. But then it's like, well, look at his numbers, dude. Look at his resume through 13 games. It's as good as it gets. It's as good as it gets.
I don't know what Brock's going to look like long term, and I don't know what Brock would look like on mid team across the NFL. But what I do know is on this team, he is playing literally flawless football.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with facing the 49ers now is before you could rely on the quarterback giving you an opportunity throughout the game. As long as you capitalized, you would win. If you didn't, you couldn't. That's not happening anymore. And so, yeah, you can focus on taking CMC out of the game or Kittle or Debo or whoever. Really, they're to a point where this player, Brock Purdy, is so good at getting everybody involved, spreading the ball around, making the right decision, that you have to take him out of the game. That's easy. And it's not easy to do, but you would think it's easier to take him out, the one guy, versus all four of the other guys. That's what you have to do. Good luck. Good luck.
And I think Philly understood that because their whole game plan was don't care about McCaffrey. We are rushing the quarterback. Don't care about handoffs, play action. Forget it. Like, we're taking out little Brock. Sorry, man. Not today, buddy. And we're taking out his backup too. We're coming for the quarterback. It's like, you want to shut down the Niners running back? Yeah, he's great. He's super great. And he's leading the league in touches, and a lot goes through him. But it's the quarterback. He's good. And he's much more important positionally on the chessboard. You got to put him in check. And the Cowboys couldn't do it. They were too busy shutting down McCaffrey. Let's give him a golf clap for shutting down McCaffrey. Let's give him a nice way to go, Dallas. You did what you wanted to do. Flav says 2 scenarios where Brock's arm strength could be an issue. One is if we can't run because we're down big or need quick score, or if it's really windy. I'd bet Cleveland +7. Also think Watson plays. Yeah, you wrote in earlier with me and Rob. Flav is concerned today, which is interesting.
Yeah, I don't think Watson's Watson didn't practice today. What is today? I guess it's only Wednesday. We'll see tomorrow. Thursday's the big day. If he doesn't practice tomorrow, I don't think he's playing at all. If he's limited, then we'll see. Deshaun Watson just isn't. If this was Deshaun Watson 2.5 years ago, I'd be very concerned. But
so are they saying that like PJ Walker with a full week of practice gives him a better chance to win than Deshaun Watson with no practice? Is that what they're saying? Because that's amazing. Wow, Deshaun. How much are they paying him? And it's fully guaranteed.
A lot of money. A lot of money.
That was smart. Rajbir says Niners should be fresh. They sat in the fourth quarter. Yeah, but the Browns should be fresh. They had a bye week last week. But that's a good point. That is a good point.